The internet computer ICP may be about to double in price in a very short succession of time. That is going to be the topic of today's video, and we're going to be breaking it all down technically. We're going to be starting the video off by looking at our price prediction that we gave nearly a month ago for the internet computer, where we outlined first the path towards $24, which is where we believe it's going to next, and then perhaps a technical roadmap for how ICP could get to that $200 mark. Now, I know that would make many of you ICP holders very happy, but we have to see a number of things play out. And what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about where ICP currently is today, where it's come from, where we think it's going in the short term, and then we can look at our kind of more broader macro price prediction that we gave for ICP that could see it running to $200. But we certainly think $24 is on the cards in what we believe is going to be a short succession of time, potentially the first half of this year, and we want to share that with each and every one of you. The internet computer is a very interesting project because it is essentially seeking to decentralize the internet. And some of you may say, what are you talking about? The internet is decentralized. Well, in actual fact, the hardware that makes up the internet, so things like data storage, server farms, hardware that's associated with network and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all this stuff, is essentially owned by just under 5 companies. In fact, you can really relate the hardware that runs the internet to the likes of Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. That's why they're the largest companies in the world. And there's a kind of danger with that centralization, certainly in the kind of digital or ever increasingly digital world that we are moving towards. And ICP, through its internet protocol, actually seeks to decentralize this. It is a kind of, in my opinion, a bit of a deep in play, but it also embodies all the features in a scalable manner of a layer 1 blockchain. It's a very, very interesting project. We have done some sort of walk and talks on ICP. We will do an entirely deep dive. It will be a long video though, guys, I do warn you. But if you are an ICP fan, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. ICP is a very interesting project. We are very into deep in decentralized physical decentralized physical infrastructure, not financial infrastructure, that is DeFi. And we think ICP is really a play on that. And there is a real narrative, just like there is with Bitcoin in regards to decentralizing money itself, that there's a monopoly over, to actually decentralizing the internet, because the internet actually, you could argue in some cases, is as important as money as it is a influencer of human beings. And if there is a small number of people that essentially control that, there's a real danger there actually in regards to information, how we get it, and what's pushed to us as the masses. So we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. This is going to be a purely price predictive video. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say doing this video is financial advice. I honestly don't really care if you guys buy or don't buy ICP. It's entirely up to you. All we're doing is presenting our opinion, and you guys can take from that. And a good place for me to start would be with recapping on the price prediction that we gave for ICP over a month ago. Now, we have a number of price predictions for a number of different projects. Of course, ICP is one of those. And to be totally transparent, I do have a position in ICP currently. And I am expecting to capture this short-term upside and potentially then look to take it to what could be a $200 ICP price. I know there's a lot of people have a lot of concerns about the supply and a number of other things, but I think this is to be addressed on a technical update. And I just want to kind of mention, that in my opinion, markets are just supply and demand, right? And if you want to look at a good example of the supply of something having no real bearing on the price, look at Dogecoin. And look at how it's performed in every single bull market. It's done quite well. There's nothing fundamental back in it. There's an unlimited supply that's unbelievably inflationary, and the price still does well. Not comparing Dogecoin and ICP. Far from it, by the way, guys. I think ICP is fundamentally an amazing project. We really love their kind of canister parallel system. This is the road to scaling. If you look at Ethereum's roadmap, it involves kind of sharding and parallelizing systems. And, this is the kind of, I think, champion method when it comes to scaling. But this was the price prediction that we were giving. And you can see we were identifying a double bottom. There was a bullish divergence present. We were identifying a stage 1 base that this double bottom was in, a break of that on volume, which is very important. We were expecting some sort of consolidation. There was a falling wedge in there. We're now going to look at a bull pennant that's ultimately going to lead us on the short-term time frame to what is going to be a broader head and shoulders that could then see us set up to $200. But $24 is the target. We want to see an interaction with that level, and then we can predict higher. So this has to play out. But thus far, it does look pretty good. And let's dive over to the ICP chart. We're going to show you some examples of other charts that we've called on this channel using the exact same methods that are played out in a similar manner. We'll show you not just one, but two, and then we'll talk about altcoins in relation to Bitcoin, and actually how I do think we are approaching a phase where altcoins are actually going to gain ground against Bitcoin. But Bitcoin really is the star of the show with the ETFs and whatnot. So, nice clean chart for ICP. If we pull up the RSI, this is a bullish divergence. You can see this. You put in a lower low on the weekly time frame, but you put in a higher low on the RSI. What the RSI is, it's a momentum-based indicator. This is a very early indicator that a trend is about to change. This is similar to what we looked at in Bitcoin over here, and we apply the same principles. We aren't the biggest indicator traders, but we do use a number of them, or investors, we do use a number of them to help us kind of derive our view on the markets. We take a more broad approach and look for correlation and confluence when it comes to, we want to stack probabilities in our favor, and this is one probability that we use. So if we put the draw on that we were identifying in that video, you can see this was your double bottom, bullish divergence present. It's also a stage 1 base, and this was where we broke out into a stage 2, which is now an uptrend. And we've been very good at calling stage 2s, not just for the cryptocurrency market, but for the stock market last year. And lots of cryptos this year look like where stocks were last year. This was the total market cap that we were calling a stage 1 for, into a stage 2, total market cap excluding Bitcoin, total market cap excluding Ethereum, and Bitcoin. You can see how they progress. So we expect the same thing for the internet computer. Just to go back to it quickly to show you some very quick, but we could have showed multiple examples of this. And you can see this occurred on volume. So when you take a key level of resistance, certainly if you're expecting upside, you want to see that on momentum. If you're expecting downside, it doesn't need to be on momentum, because often that's the reason, or I should say volume, not momentum, to be totally correct here, that something is breaking down. So since then, ICP, in my opinion, did come back, and it did actually retest or get very close to this level of resistance. It put in a sort of smaller double bottom. So we're going to class this as a retest. Since then, it found its feet, rocketed off it, and it has been consolidating in what I would describe as a rather bullish pattern to drop down the time frames in some sort of a pennant, some sort of a symmetrical-esque triangle that ultimately I think is going to lead to upside. Now, we were looking at this exact pattern on Bitcoin on the small time frame yesterday and Saturday going into this week, just to show you how that played out. This is the same pattern that we were looking at. If we drop right down the time frames for this one, it was on a smaller scale. This was Bitcoin. We're essentially saying this is likely going to go higher. This is where ICP is at. And the interesting thing with where ICP is at is this smaller pattern could play us into or get us closer to a bigger pattern. So this is what we're looking at. We do think this is going to break to the upside, and then you are going to interact likely with this level over here, which, by the way, from where ICP is today, is roughly a 77% gain. So we're talking about nearly a 2x. This is what we're talking about. But this is just the start and the sort of smaller target. So you can see if this does play out in the way we think it will, you're likely going to squeeze into this, then likely set up for continuation. What I want to do, this volume is very impressive. It's very encouraging in regards to where ICP is currently. What I want to do is show you some examples of this. This is in an earlier stage than the examples we're going to be showing you. Of course, Objective Protocol, you had your double bottom, break, you consolidate for a period, you sort of retest it quite harshly given the nature of this altcoin, and then you set up exactly what we're looking at for ICP. So this is the double bottom target that takes you close to this, what then forms a neckline. Very similar with the double bottom target we've got here. And then you can see you consolidate, you set up, and then you go on for continuation. We have higher targets for Injective, nearly a 2x from where it is today, or actually over a 2, it's going to double essentially, we think, from where it is today. But this is, ICP is essentially further behind than the likes of Injective. Chainlink, although not a double bottom, it was a range bottom. Again, similar target, come up, set up, and then you see continuation. You sort of pivot around the break of the key level. That's essentially where ICP is today, and this is where it's going. And we ultimately think that there is a good chance, and remember, this is not financial advice, that ICP could be heading towards that $200 mark. And just to show you that very quickly in regards to getting up to the short-term target that we're looking at, let's actually go back and just show you how this plays out very, very quickly. This is what we're essentially looking at for ICP. You can see it shoots up to this target, and then pulls back. This is essentially what we think is going to happen out of this smaller pattern for ICP. Chainlink doing a similar thing. And this is all occurring at a good time. This is the total cryptocurrency market cap, excluding the top 10 cryptos, obviously stable coins, so the top 10 actual cryptos, not including stable coins. We think that this is going to gain a 20% market share, which means Bitcoin dominance is going to be going down on the back end of it. The cryptos outside the top 10, which ICP is, are going to be gaining relative to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be going up as well, because if Bitcoin was going down, the entire market would be. This is good for altcoins. Also, we've got ETH BTC. And if we use, let's not use Coinbase, actually, let's use Binance. This is something that we are expecting to move out of. And ultimately, this, I think, is very positive for Bitcoin dominance coming down. This is really what we're looking at. Also, we've got Bitcoin dominance, which we do think is likely to top. If we take a look at this, you can see typically it's round about here, which is quite late in the actual or after the bull market has well and truly begun. We've got lots of comments saying, oh, you know, the bull market doesn't start till post-halvening. Well, you know, you've missed out on some of the gains that we've made. So we do think this is going to roll. This is all going to fit in with what we think ICP is going to do. And we are potentially looking at a $200 ICP price. This is the short-term target of $24. Let's see how it interacts. If it interacts in the way we think it will, then we could be on for that $200 ICP price. Remember, nothing I say or do on this video or on this channel, for that matter of fact, or on any of my channels or media outlets is financial advice. This is just my own take on the markets from a technical analyst's perspective. And what you choose to do with it is entirely up to you. On that note, guys, I'm going to love and leave you. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always greatly appreciated. So is a comment. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next.